right, what do we got here? A show that was better than Raw and NXT. Dynamite Delight. Now, I will not lie to you. There was issues in this show, but if you look at Raw, which did not seem right, particularly when Trish Stratus turns heel with no build. I've seen people say, I believe I saw just Alex saying, oh, it was good to see her turn heel after 18 years. This is not about it's good to see Trish turn heel after 18 years. She should have been built up into it, and she was ending up just like Brock Lesnar. Then we had NXT, which was more interesting than Raw, but Raw was a bit better, even though it was more interesting. For me personally, if I had to see which one was a better show, Raw was a better show, even though NXT was much more interesting in many spots. And now we have Dynamite, which basically blows them both out. And I'm not a die-hard AEW fan, guys. You know that. I am brutally honest on every show I watch. Either Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Impact, all of them. I'm not lying about things. I tell you what it is. This Dynamite was better than both shows. Did it have issues? Yes. But I'm going to tell you now. I don't know if just Alex or JD would agree with me. They probably won't. Or even Jesse as well. He probably won't agree. Maybe they'll say it was the best show out of the lot. I'm just saying it was a better show than both of them. Okay. Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland. Interesting, rough show. At one point, Swerve loses his shoe. It was interesting seeing these two work together. It's not like they don't have chemistry. It's not. They do have chemistry. But there's something there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was from Swerve. Maybe it was from Darby because he did get hit by a car supposedly. But there was something off a little bit while they were being rough with each other. In the end, Allin won. And then we get... And I'm kind of wondering why they didn't do this near the middle of the show. Why wasn't this in the middle of the show? That's just me. But we get a damn good promo time from a MJF and a Darby Allin. Now, MJF makes it very clear. He puts over the pillars. He also puts himself over. He makes it clear that Darby Allin is not someone to trifle with. He does respect him. And in 2021, they had the best match that pro wrestling's ever seen. But Darby Allin's nothing but an idiot. He's nothing but stupid. He's nothing, well, not in those so many words, but he's never going to be near his level. He's a genius. He's stupid. MJF is here. He's here. Now, this is when we get Darby finally talking. And a little bit of truth was thrown in. Darby made it very clear. You happy? Are you happy, MJF? You happy, Maxwell? 6 years ago when I knew you, you were not happy. You said the minute you became a champion, you would be happy. You haven't changed. Me and you were a lot alike in certain points. I was going to do whatever I wanted once I became a champion. But the minute I became a champion, I realized I was not happy. I had to decide to go to therapy, which was great. Everybody, Maxwell, you should try it. It's beautiful. But he made it very clear that he did not want to be a monster inside. He was cool outside, but he wasn't cool inside. That's why he went to therapy. He ain't sacrificing nothing. And MJF came back at him and then pretty much said that he was Sting's bitch. And that's when Sting came out. Mr. Stinger decided to come out, going, whoa! Making it very clear that he's not forgotten. And he made it very clear that his time is almost up. Namely, he's not going to be in ring competitor. Sooner or later, he's going to be working in the back. Let's make this clear, guys. Sting has had a resurgence. I don't know what they put in his coffee. He said clearly, you guys are not doing it right. Hold my drink. And then he goes off and shows them what he can do at 65 to 66 years old. That's what Sting did. And what he may still do. But it's only a matter of time before he will say, I'm done, I can't go in the ring no more. I will work in the back or I'll leave wrestling for good. That is what he was talking about, but he made it very clear. I have been Surfer. I have been the Stinger. I have been Crow Sting. I have been the Joker. He thanked a little bit of Ric Flair. He made it very clear to show Kevin Nash and Scott Hall a little bit of respect. And he made it very clear the one that's next to be champion will be a Darby Allin. That's what he made it clear about. Now, was it bad? No, I enjoyed it. And I kind of wish it was somewhere in the middle of the show. One thing I got to say that I felt that the card of this match, well, how can I say this? Not the card of this match. The way they structured the show, the card of the show, of where the matches were, I don't agree with them. I believe that match should have been in the middle of the show. Honestly, should have been there. It should have been at the 1 hour main event. That's where this should have been. But that's just me. Next, we had an open challenge for the TNT title. Hobbs versus Young. I can't remember his name. Silas? Young, I believe his name. Silas. Didn't even last a minute. He annihilated him. He brutalized him within about, 10 or 20 seconds? He ended him. But here's the thing. QT Marshall gave a card to a Powerhouse Hobbs that I didn't see. That probably happened on Rampage. I didn't see 2 Rampages, so I missed a lot. But he got a car. It looked like a Dark Angel, I believe. A Buick. They used to call it a Dark Angel. And it got his ass annihilated by Wardlow, who came in and started fighting one another, took Solo and powerbombed them. And I think the powerbomb didn't go well, because Solo was supposed to crash through 2 tables. He crashed through one, probably hit his head on another, and landed under it. Did not look good. That was bad. Very bad. I'm hoping he's alright. But they kept fighting, and then they had to separate them. So they will be having a match eventually. Now, the International Championship, where it was Buddy Matthews versus Orange Cassidy, which I believe should have closed the show. Instead of where Chris Jericho was, and Keith Lee, who I love. Love those guys. But this should have closed the show, honestly. And they should have been more, how can I say this? They made Orange Cassidy's hand a priority. Trying to say that he may have broken his hand. And I wish they had gone there to a certain extent. Then do an attack afterward. That's what I felt should have happened. Because we had a good match between Buddy Matthews. Honestly, I wish it had closed. And I wish they would have done more promos with Buddy. That's just me. I always thought Buddy Matthews really deserved a bit more than what he got. But that's just me. But in the end, once it was all over, we see a little side note that Aussie Open, I believe, won the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Now, Best Friends wants to go after it because currently Orange has a title. So next week they're going to have a title match, I believe, on Dynamite. But to be honest, I kind of wish, honestly, that Malachi Black had came out and started attacking Orange Cassidy and messed up his hand again, even more than Buddy did, so he would have a shot at that title. That's the way I feel. I'm just saying. It wasn't a bad match at all, and the interview wasn't so bad. Now, what do I say about Cutler and Nakazawa getting destroyed by the Blackpool Combat Club with Claudio and Mox? There was no match. There was just destruction. And this is where the first part of what I was talking, well, second part I was talking about, when it came to Don Callis, and they showed us how bad the gash, it was right here, guys. And his head looked dented in. A good portion of his meat was just sliced, cleaned, open. Now, I'm not going to show it here. I'm not going to show it. Should I? I don't want to really render this video. I may have to do it. I don't know. I might. But if it's in this video, if I did it, it should be right here where I'm pointing. It looked brutal the way he hit his head. Understand, when he got hit in the head by Mox or him did not know the lighting system was that close. He didn't know how close he was, and you heard his head go ding off the metal. I knew when I heard that metal, I heard someone got hurt. I knew instantly that Don got hurt. I just didn't know where. But when they said he was bleeding from his head, that his skull was visible, that gash here, if I hadn't put it up, was brutal. That was ugly. But when we saw a Kenny before the match talking about, I understand what you guys are doing. It's part of the business. But you heard Don. And yes, he is an ass. He didn't say this. But he's not likable. Look, he's still in the hospital. He's concussed. He's not getting flowers. He's not getting cards. He's not likable. But he's family. I'm not going to do blood for blood. But what I'm going to do is going to be way worse. And when that situation was over and he was given by the Bucks, because him and the Bucks came out to try and save Nakazawa and Brian Cutler, we got a pretty much, you didn't see Hangman Page because he got gouged with a screwdriver. You got a screwdriver, I believe it was from Matt. Runs at a Mox, puts it into one of the turnbuckles, and that's just a sign of total war. That's what he was talking about. Not blood for blood, war. Okay. This is a very interesting situation. Kind of like what's going on with the Four Pillars. The Four Pillars, when it comes to Alan Guevara as well as Jungle Boy, is interesting. You got four people that they're writing a story that the company is written around, along with MJF. And now you got this one with Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. That's another story. That's a little more strong than what's going on in NXT, which NXT is beginning to build their stuff back up because they already just finished it and they're restarting or they're continuing to try and to build it up, like what's going on with Carmelo Hayes dealing with a Braun Breaker who's now turned heel and Carmelo's turned face, when basically he turned heel, Braun Breaker, mainly due to the fact of how Trick Williams pissed him off, and they just went with it because guess what? Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are being cheered when they shouldn't be because they cheated. That's why he turned heel. Which is part of the stories. No problem. Now, let's talk about, what do I think of Ethan Page pretty much being angry at Matt Hardy? I was tired of it. I don't care. But they finally, because of the contract that was signed by Ethan Page to do the match, the key of this is what happened afterward. Because now, if you really want me, we are going to get a match. Because I made that stipulation in there that if you lose, we have another contract coming up. That next contract will be for a match. And if that match happens, and if I win, me and Private Party are free from our contracts. Finally. It's done on Dynamite. I finally see a build that is now going to fruition. Because it's been way too long. I haven't been liking it. Particularly that most of it has been done on Elevation and Dark. Haven't seen it. So, finally getting it done. And once, let me give it to you like this. When Morrissey and Moriarty came out, I was fine with it. I knew it was going to happen. Because that wasn't all of the firm. Ethan Page wasn't the rest of the firm. The others were. But the question was, when are they going to end the segment? Because it was going too long. And then Matt is so happy because you finally get Jeff back. The place mostly erupted. Not heavily erupted, but mostly erupted to see Jeff back. There were a lot of people very happy to hear him. Not happy to hear that he's back and happy to see him. They were generally happy to see him. It wasn't like a huge ovation, but it was a lot of people cheering. I'm hoping, I am praying to the Great Spirit, that this time rehab sticks for a Jeff Hardy. This has got to be it. If Jeff doesn't stay clean, he needs to leave wrestling permanently and just train people or work in the back and never wrestle again. ever, because this should be the last stop. For me personally, this is the last stop. Tony brought him back like Mox. And unlike Mox, this has been going on for a long time. It's been on and off, on and off. This has got to be the last time. If it isn't, oof, it should be over. I'm just saying. Sky Blue and Rio versus Soho and Storm. Look, I am glad you're getting TV time, but there's no story. And this is the major issue. You got a story of the outsiders versus the originals, but how many people you got in it? 4, 5 women? Sometimes 6? Where are the factions? 3 women is not a faction. 2 women is not a faction. Factions of 5 or 10 people. No. 10 to 15 or 20 people. You got 5 women you could put into this faction for the originals. Let me give it to you. You got Ruby Soho. You got Storm. You got Saraya. You can have Selena Deeps. You can have Mercedes Martinez. You can have those women be in there. Hell, you can throw Athena in there. At least it'll be 6 women. And the originals. You got Britt Baker. You got Jamie Hayter. You got pretty much Rio. You can have Hiro Kushida. You can have, well, if Thunder Rosa can't wrestle but she can walk, you can have her come out just because you can have her there. You can even throw Nia Rose in there. Yes, she's a wild card. You can say that you can't totally trust her, but she's been there from the very beginning. She's been pushed heavily, and she could be someone similar to a, let me give it to you like this. When it came to Chris Bay in Impact Wrestling, you didn't know where he stood. Was he heel or face? You can do the same thing with a Nia Rose. Yes, you can. And I believe she should be used. All these women should be used. You can have 10 women working in a faction versus faction. At least then the women would have a real story. And they have one, but they're not expanding on it. I just don't get it. I'm just saying. Finally, let me give it to you like this. I know there's more to what happened about painting Rio. I'm not going to go there. That's all I'm going to say. Look, when it came to Keith Lee versus Chris Jericho, I don't know what to call that. Now, I know the mobile affiliates and the embassy have now merged into the mobile. I don't know if the mobile embassy is the best way to call it. I kind of wish they would just use the embassy. Or the mobile affiliates with the embassy included. Or the mobile affiliates including the embassy. I just don't know if the mobile embassy makes any sense. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. Was this match good? I don't know. Seeing Keith Lee kiss a Chris Jericho on the head to fuck with him was funny. I'm not going to lie about that. That was funny. It was not a bad match between the two, but you got 2 wrestlers that are not incredibly quick in the ring. Chris is my age. He's 52 this year. He's my age. So it's not like he's super fast, but he still moves pretty good in the ring. Then you got Keith Lee, who really works better with lighter wrestlers. And Chris is not a light wrestler. And he's not a fast wrestler anymore. And it shows. I'm not saying Chris is like down here. Chris is still here. He is still well above average. This is average. This is below. This is top tier. Chris is somewhere in between average, top tier. He's easily hovering right here. Being as old as he is, like me, does not mean he can't still go, but he needs the proper people to go with. Either someone incredibly fast or someone a little bit smaller. Someone bigger than him, it'll work as long as they're very, very powerful or at least decently fast. If they're both almost the same speed, it ain't good. So that's the problem we got with Keith Lee, who's now grayed out. In the end, it was Swerve Strickland knocked him in the head with something. And with let me give it to you like this. Am I really enjoying Daniel Garcia dancing around? No. But he is trying to do his best as a sports entertainer. I kind of wish he would still be more of a a wrestler. Because seeing him go like this isn't the same as like this and punch your teeth down your throat. I'm just saying. This show was better than NXT, easily. This show was better than Raw, easily. Was it perfect? No. Honestly, it was not. It was not even close to being perfect. But it was better. I can easily say that. And that's going from a guy who's being honest to you, telling you what's decent, what's bad, what's good. I'm just being honest. That's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this Dynamite. Like, give me a comment below. And maybe one like. Be nice. Peace.